What is up, YouTube? My name is Felpel and welcome to my channel. First of all, thank you to everyone who has subscribed to my stuff and liked it and just shared it and watched the past week, especially with the Roy G. Biv video. If you haven't seen it yet, I've linked it in the description, as well as the little card that's going to be flying up around my head any moment now. Having said all this, I've spent the past 2 weeks working in a lot of analog, synthwave, down-tempo, ambient stuff, but today I'm going into a very left field, different direction, and one that will probably get very polarized. What I am talking about here is something that goes by a few different keywords. Call it FM, Skrillex, growl bass, FM bass, hard bass, harsh bass, metallic bass, filthy, disgusting, snail bass, bass house, EDM bass. The list could go on and on. It's easy for anyone to search YouTube and find a whole list of tutorials of people who are making these bass sounds with Massive and Serum. I have nothing against those plugins, but I like doing things differently in the sense that I have to work for the sounds that I want. For this MicroKorg, it's no exception. There are some sounds, if you look up MicroKorg dubstep in YouTube, that do sound really, really good. But as far as people who want something that is harsh and gritty and metallic and traces back to the acid house and the TB303, there's really not many tutorials I've seen for it. Maybe they're out there and I just haven't found them, but I have not seen them. So to add to that mix, I decided to post one of the sounds that I created, and it happened, as any good electronic sound does, by a happy accident. Today I'm going to show you how to make this sound on the MicroKorg, so let's get to it. So to begin, we're going to hit Shift 3 to initialize our patch and have this beautiful sawtooth. And our voice settings, we're going to keep these about nearly the same. We're going to keep it on our synth setting because we're not using the vocoder, a single layer. We're actually going to change our voice assign to unison, which makes 2 copies of this patch that we can detune from one another, but we're going to keep it at the initial setting of 10. And we're also going to set our trigger mode from single, which would enable us to play legato, to multi-mode. And the reason for that is we're going to be setting up a filter, EG, and amp setting where we're going to constantly need to re-trigger the envelope. And our oscillator 1, we're going to set this to sine. If we wanted to, we could adjust it there and you'd get some FM sounds, which you would think that would sound great for bass. But we're going to keep it at its lowest setting. Very simple, low, rumbling sub bass. In our mixer, we're going to turn up oscillator 2 because we're going to be using our oscillator 2 in this patch for once. I think we've used it in other tutorials though too. But the difference with this one is that we're going to use a triangle wave and use ring modulation, which generates a sum and difference of the frequencies of oscillator 1 and oscillator 2. So it has your fundamental frequency and then it's generating 2 other frequencies outside of that. If you play, your middle C and you adjust the semitones here, yeah, it is. It's generating these 2 frequencies, one that's at the bottom of the original pitch and one that's at the top of the original. And here we're going to set it to -5. And we're going to set our tuning here to about 24, because right now we have this perfect tone, whereas I want to bring out a more metallic sound out of the top end of this. So if we play this back, and you get into 24, you have a metallic sound. And what you probably noticed is that our middle C no longer sounds like middle C, which means we have to go back down to our pitch and retune this whole synthesizer. If you use 14, your low bass sound there is getting more in the range of middle C. If you really want to get precise with it, if you set your tuning to 35 and look at it on a tuner, it's not going to be perfect. It's going to waver a little bit. That's as close as we can get it. And our filter, we're going to set this down to 24 for a darker sound. Turn our cutoff all the way to 0 and our resonance all the way off. And we're going to turn our filter EG int all the way up because we're going to utilize this envelope. In our filter EG settings, we're going to set our attack to a very short 5. Our decay to about a 39. We're going to turn our sustain all the way down and turn our release time to about 57. So all of a sudden you have kind of this metal plucking sound. Now in our amp, we are going to turn on our distortion, and this is really the main secret ingredient as to why the sound sounds so dirty and thick. Because as you've noticed so far, this is just a really tinny sound. You have this metal top and then a really low bottom, which is nice with a sine, but how in the world do you get a really thick sound? And our distortion is the key here. Without distortion, all of a sudden it sounds like one of these Reese basses from the drum and bass scene or something like that. It sounds really, really good. In our amplitude envelope, we're going to be setting our attack to 4. We're going to keep our decay at 64, keep our sustain on, and put our release at 57. In my patch settings, this is more my personal preference. I'm going to set my Modwheel to our cutoff and set that up all the way. So now when I play this, just having a little more fun with it. In our mod effects, we're going to set it to Flanger and turn our rate to about 15 and our mod depth up to about 10. It just adds a little tiny bit of chorus. And in our EQ, I'm really going to make this extreme in that I'm going to turn up the EQ band here all the way to 1000. And our high EQ, we're going to turn that down the whole way to 3000 and then push both up to 8. And over in my launchpad, I can just hit the key here. And if you wanted, if we go back to our pitch and put on a little bit of glide, maybe just about 5, maybe 5 to 7, and play this again. Now we have it really bouncing, and it really sounds fun once you put a dance beat over it. There you have it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. For any of my content, whether it's original videos, original songs, covers, whatever, if you want to see more, hit the subscribe button and leave a comment as to whether or not this was helpful, whatever sounds you may want to hear me try to tackle in the future. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next video.